Hey my friends, I'm a rapper from Germany and today I'm gonna take a look at something that was on the channel for a time for a lot of countries, and now we're going on Tunisia, and that is Geography Now. That's a channel that explains about countries, what they're about, their politics, their geography, their culture, a lot of stuff. And there are still, for some countries that are on my channel right now, these Geography Now reactions open. So Tunisia I decide to go for because I actually don't know which music I should do for Tunisia right now. I don't really have a lot of recommendations on certain songs, so I thought it's a good idea to start with this one. I will make two parts for this reaction because the original is over half an hour, and we're gonna jump right into this after the intro.
Yin und Yang.
Du bist ein krasser Versager. Du hast doch nichts gelernt. Ich höre, sie reden von Zaster und Talern. Sie sind das Gift, das man erbt. Das Gift eben jener, die ihren Körper schinden und quälen, bis es nicht mehr geht. Oder das Gift der Eltern an ihr Kind, damit es sicher lebt.
Now, Tunisia, we can see already our guy having a Tunisia shirt on, and let's actually start right here.
So the Arab world is pretty complex. You have the Middle East, the Gulf, the Arab-speaking but not completely considered Arab regions, and finally the Maghreb, or North Africa.
Oh, Maghreb. Okay, the Arab world. Anyway, there's another video from this channel that is about the Arab countries in general. This might be interesting in future as well.
In each of these communities, you find hints and links to what shaped their identity over millennia. And Tunisia is a very complicated one. At some point, all of these empires and kingdoms left their mark on Tunisia.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Vandals.
Wait, I see Vandals on that list. They are from Scandinavia, so like proto-Vikings?
Nah, they were Germanic, not Norse, so I wouldn't say that.
Wow, Vikings in Africa.
No, I mean, technically, yes, the Vikings in the 11th century were taking over, but we're talking about 5th century Vandals. They're not the same thing.
Wait, you mean the Punic Wars?
But no, that was centuries earlier between Rome and Carthage.
So you're saying that Lebanese people fought Rome?
What? No, well, I mean, unless you're referring to both having Phoenician roots, but
Why do they have hammams? Are they Turkish?
And why are they speaking French? And aren't they Muslim and they're drinking wine? Is that allowed?
Tunisia, everybody, let's start the episode.
Okay, I get the point. What they trying to, he's trying to explain. It's all confusing about Tunisia. Okay, man. All right.
It's time to learn geography.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Get your Geography Now merch at geographynow.com. It's not selling out if it's your brand. Oh, and what is this cool Tunisia flag shirt that I'm wearing?
Yes, that I was wondering about.
Logo? It's from unityshirt.shop.com. Ruba
Okay.
from the Sudan episode makes these shirts, and if you would like one, go to the website and support her business. Thank you, Ruba. So I'm personally kind
A little bit of ads for our friends from Sudan, right?
of excited for this one. A while back, I did a DNA test and I made a video on it. I found out I have North African roots. Well, you literally can't get more North African than Tunisia. And if so, these guys could be my incredibly
He says you can't get more North Africa because, like, the tip of North Africa is Tunisia, if I'm not mistaken, like the furthest point in the north.
long distant cousins. First of all, say hi to Sammy. Okay, he's gonna be co-hosting with me. How you doing?
Hi
How you
guys.
doing? And we also got Ahmed right here. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
He's gonna be doing some of the segments in the episode.
Yeah,
all right?
stay tuned for that. It's gonna be great.
Anything you guys want to say quickly about Tunisia before we start?
Tahia Tunis.
Long live Tunisia. I hope you guys like
Don't know. Okay.
the episode. I hope we make you proud.
Well, now that we have our two Tunisians, let's use our two knees to jump in now, shall we?
I mean, they're always making these weird wordplays right there. I mean, but to be honest, I know basically nothing about Tunisia, so this will be very interesting. The intro is pretty long. I have to say, it's pretty long.
Oh, you just made a bad pun.
We didn't learn anything about Tunisia yet. I want to say that we're 2 minutes in.
Go ahead.
So,
Alright.
quick side note, you guys, the entire continent of Africa actually gets its name from what Tunisia used to
Roman province of Africa. That was the Roman Empire.
be called in Roman times Afriqia.
History here goes way beyond Roman times, though. See, when it comes to history, Europeans are like,
You have a 200-year-old building and you think that's history? My bakery is older than that.
But when Tunisians meet Europeans, it's like,
Oh, you have a Roman ruin? Try Carthaginian or Phoenician.
lots of landmarks in history.
Okay, so basically what they're saying right here is compared to the Roman Empire in Europe, what happened in Tunisia is way beyond, like, was way earlier, like the history.
Here, let's go to the map first, shall we?
First of all, Tunisia is located in North Africa, or the Maghreb region, which includes all the nations of Africa that straddle the Mediterranean. In fact, Tunisia is the northernmost point of the entire African continent, Cape Angela, or Ras Ben Saka, which is this entire jagged cliffy area right here. Now here's the interesting thing. The monument for the northernmost point is on this small westernmost peninsula. However, if you geolocate the coordinates, the unnamed middle peninsula just to the east of it is actually just a few meters further north, so not trying to piss off any Tunisian cartographers, but I'm just saying. In any case,
Okay. Maybe they measured a little bit wrong.
Tunisia also has the northernmost island point in Africa as well, the Galit Islands, or Ile de Chien, or Dog.
So they own an island that is even more, way more north than that.
Islands, about 12 miles or 19 kilometers further north in the Mediterranean. Speaking of islands, Tunisia has quite a few off their coasts, including the largest island in all of North Africa, Jerba, which is connected to the mainland by this cool 4-mile or 6.5 kilometer causeway bridge. The country is made up of 24 governorates, each one named after their capital city, whereas the capital of the country and largest city is the aptly named Tunis.
Tunis. I know. Okay, I knew this because it didn't change from when I was in school and learned the capitals in Europe and North Africa and West Asia, basically.
Also holds the largest and busiest airport, Tunis Carthage International. It also holds the biggest and busiest shipping port of the country, the port of Tunis, and is famous for its elongated goulet, or gullet, which creates Lake Tunis, with Fort Santiago of Chicli, an ancient Roman citadel site that is only accessible by this incredibly long and narrow jetty, but unfortunately closed off to the public. The crazy thing is,
it looks like a prison, to be honest. Like, how this is built up, it looks like it is a prison.
just north of this point is the Punic port of Carthage, where the ancient ships would dock and is now repurposed as a landmark and museum site. From there, the second and third largest cities are Sfax, just a bit further south, and Sousse, in between Sfax and Tunis.
So, never heard of these two towns, basically. So, basically means Tunis is the only city from Tunisia that I knew so far, as Sfax and Sousse, alright.
Interestingly though, the second and third busiest airports are actually Enfida Hammamet International, close to Sousse, and due to the high tourism demand, Jerba Zarzis International ranks in number 3. Getting around is mostly easy for the top half of the country. They have rail lines that extend all the way inland to Tozeur and along the coast to Gab. From there, the road network becomes more sparse the further south you go, until there is only one road, the partially unpaved C211, that goes all the way down to the tri-point with Algeria and Libya.
Okay, let's back up a few thousand years, shall we?
Okay, so the south is less capitalized, like very few citizens in the south, I would guess, because if there's not really a road system, that makes sense.
Remember the Tonga episode we did 2 episodes ago? We talked about thalassocracies, or maritime empires. Well, Tunisia was essentially the hub of one of the oldest renowned thalassocracies in the world, the Carthaginian Empire.
It was in North.
So this map looks interesting in what they owned right here at the sea. Okay.
African Empire ruled by Punic people, but what are Punic people?
They were Semitic of Phoenician origin, meaning that they came from the Levant, and they colonized the coast of North Africa.
Levant is in today's Turkey, if I have seen that right.
Africa.
So does that mean Tunisian people are Phoenicians?
Not quite, because later Carthage fell to Rome.
Then are they Latin?
Not quite, because then everything fell to Vandals, Ottomans, Arabs, and the French.
So what are they?
We'll explain later in the episode, but long story short, it's like Arab, but Arab.
The coolest thing is that in Tunisia you can see bits and pieces of all these historical eras meshed into their civil environment, including...
Okay, so it's basically very mixed culture, as far as I understand now, because of their history of being invaded by a lot of huge empires back in the days. All right.
The Mosque of Qayrawan.
It is the oldest Muslim and Arab base in the Maghreb, and it was the oldest mosque in the Maghreb as well. Some say it's like the 4th holiest site in Islam, but
okay, that is Iraq, and what is the wait, these two flags look almost similar. Iraq, and is this United? No, I don't know what the second flag is right here.
But yeah, it's a complete casserole of influences. And with that, to explain a little bit more on the top notable sites of Tunisia, here's Ahmed to explain. Ahmed, come on in.
First, the Medina of Tunis, which is basically the old part of the city. There are over 700 monuments and buildings that date back to the 12th century. It has Zitouna, which is a mosque and a university, supposedly the oldest in the world.
Nope, mine is the oldest.
Yeah, Morocco, maybe it was registered first, but
okay. We have these small jokes area, but this part gets a lot repeated.
12th century. It has Zitouna, which is a mosque and a university, supposedly the oldest in the world.
Nope, mine is the oldest.
Yeah, Morocco, maybe it was registered first, but ours was around before. Plus, it was founded by a Tunisian woman, and it's literally called University of Qarawiyyin, which means people of Qayrawan. So, I mean... Oh! We also have the Bardo Museum.
I don't get the point of Kairouin, what it means, like, but it's interesting that it got founded by women, like the oldest university of the world. That is interesting.
Which means people of Qayrawan. So, I mean...
Oh!
We also have the Bardo Museum, Gabili Oasis, Jerba Synagogue. We also have ancient sites and ruins of Duga and Carthage. In Zarwan, we have Water Temple and Hanaya. Fun fact, after the destruction of Carthage, Romans tried to put salt on the land so nothing would grow. But now we make the best olive oil in the world.
Romans made salt on the ground, and the salty soil is good for olives to grow? I've never heard of this. Holy heck, alright.
There's also underground homes in Matmata, which, by the way, Matmata was the site of Tatooine.
Oh, no way. No way, but that is actually, look, that is what I thought when I saw this first. Wait a
salt
second.
on the land so nothing would grow, but now we make the best olive oil in the world. There's also underground homes.
Look at how these, it looks like Tatooine, man. No cap.
In Matmata, which, by the way, Matmata was the site of Tatooine in Star Wars, and it's a tourist spot, so go check it out. And finally, El Jem, the largest ancient Colosseum in Africa, and also
nice. I mean, it looks like in Rome, right? I mean,
a UNESCO heritage site. And that's it for the famous sites. I'll see you guys later.
Woo, thank you, Ahmed.
Yeah, fun fact.
12 minutes?
The
Alright.
planet of Tatooine was named after Tatooine, Tunisia.
But don't be fooled by Star
way. No way. It was actually named. The planet was named. No way, alright.
Wars. Not all of Tunisia is a desolate desert deathscape. They have quite a bit of greenery too.
Let's discuss.
Yeah, but this makes sense again because this was the most southern part of Tunisia, right? Where it said not many people live.
That and
Physical
So you probably already know the deal. To summarize, most of North Africa kind of goes like this.
and Tunisia.
I mean, yeah.
Is no exception. There's actually a saying, Tunis al-Khadra, which means Tunisia the green.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. First, let's jump into the motion graphic.
For one, Tunisia lies right on the convergence of the African and Eurasian plates. Within this plate system, they are wedged between the Maghrebid Front Fault Line and the South Atlas Front Fault. These are the fault lines that essentially create the entire Atlas mountain chain stretching from Morocco to Tunisia's Cape Bon Peninsula. In this mountain chain, you can also find the tallest peak, Jebel Shambi. From there in the south, you get the Great Eastern Erg, a land of sand dunes containing the Jebel National Park, shielded by the Qasar Mountains. Essentially, like we've discussed many times before, this mountainous region juxtaposed to the humid Mediterranean acts as like a shield that captures all the moisture and in return creates a rain shadow effect that causes everything past the mountains to become dry and arid, hence the Sahara.
So the Sahara, look, this is even more interesting. This is not just about Tunisia, it's about how the Sahara got in place where it is, because the mountains keep the rain off that is coming from northwards. I'm learning something right here, I'm telling you.
This is why the northern part of Tunisia is noticeably greener with forested hills and mountains that can even foster snow caps in the winter, which means yes, Tunisia does have ski resorts. In the south, everything becomes rocky and dry and temperatures obviously rise. From the
We got ski resorts in Tunisia in the mountains.
Most of the rivers flow mostly in the north, including the longest one, the Majorda River, which empties into the Mediterranean. In regards to the largest inland body of water, though, it depends on what your classification stands on. If you're talking about the largest permanent lake that is not a lagoon connected to the ocean, many might claim Lake Ishkul or Ashkelon fits the bill, which is also a UNESCO heritage site. However, if you're talking about endorheic lakes, that is, seasonal lakes that dry up in the dry season, then of course we have to go to Chott el Djerid, which means Palmland Lagoon. This massive salt pan is the largest one in the Sahara and fills up enough to ride boats in the winter months when the water tributaries empty into it. When it dries back up, a thick salt crust covers the ground, so much to the point where you can walk and even drive on it sometimes.
Yeah, Chott el Djerid. Gotta love those.
Interesting stuff about this river that gets dried up in summer and in winter you can ride a boat on. That's interesting, man.
Disappearing endorheic salt lakes.
It's one of nature's coolest magic tricks. Now you see it, now it's gone.
In any case, as
Nice.
you can see, there is a wide range of landscapes within Tunisia. However, they do put a huge emphasis on maritime culture. Despite being a relatively dry nation, water is kind of like a theme in their identity. And speaking of water, you need water for a triple shot of espresso break. And you know what that means? Noah comes in to fill in for the rest of this segment. Take it
Noah, let's go.
away, Noah.
Let's roll.
You're like a fan. Something.
Now, fiscally speaking, Tunisia had kind of a roller coaster situation going on in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. For one, they aren't too much of a resource-dependent state. Sure, at one point they were called the breadbasket of the Roman Empire. And sure, about 20% of their land is arable. They usually rank amongst the top 10 olive and date producers in the world. And sure, they have a small hydrocarbon industry with some natural gas deposits, as well as crude oil wells inland and offshore. But other...
So this is an interesting part for myself because we're talking about the resources we have in Tunisia, speaking about the agriculture. So olive oil, olives in general, dates, a major producer worldwide, like one of the biggest, and we have oil and gas, probably some of this offshore, I would guess, because Tunisia is quite at the coast, which should make it like a little bit richer than it would be without, actually, right?
Other than that, Tunisia has needed more to move forward in other directions. Eventually, they privatized about 160 state-owned enterprises and entered an association agreement with the EU. Things were looking good, but then after the Arab Spring, extremist groups took advantage of the political situation and incited terror attacks, most notably at the Bardo Museum and Sousse Beach in 2015. This horrible event took a heavy blow to their tourism sector, the third largest in their economy. Nonetheless, Tunisia recovered as best they could. How so? By switching
So the terrorist attacks damaged their tourist sector, right? That's what I got right. I never heard about Tunisia being attacked by terrorists. This is new to me. This is really new to me. I didn't know that.
Up primarily to the services sector. And how did they drive this sector? By putting a large portion of funds into education. At one point back in 2001, nearly 1/5 of their entire national budget was spent on education. They were the first country...
This is awesome. Like, Germany can learn something from Tunisia by spending lots of money into education. This is really what we need in our country as well, I would say.
The Arab world to use internet in 1992. And today they often rank in the top for medical and software engineering fields in all of Africa. Tunisia is usually...
So, pretty good, yeah, pretty progressive, like the whole story. Like, they have good doctors, they have good software engineers, they have good education. All this stuff sounds really good. First African country to get internet connection, is that correct? What I understood right there?
1/5 of their entire national budget was spent on education. They were the first country in the Arab world to use internet in
the Arab world, not Africa.
And today they often rank in the top for medical and software engineering fields in all of Africa. Tunisia is usually considered the premier health tourism destination in all of North Africa, and some claim...
No, I know you're gonna say the whole Arab world. That's my title. Stay in your lane, okay?
For what it's worth, though, of course tourism is their largest service industry. They have everything from beaches to ski resorts to Star Wars film sets. Get your lightsabers ready. One more thing they capitalize off of, their national parks with wildlife. And to talk more on that, here's Gary Harlow.
I have to say, national parks is something that catches me a lot because I love nature. like in generally animals, plants, trees. I'm a big fan of that, to be honest.
Let me crock your dial. So like most countries in North Africa.
Did he say, did I let me crock your dial? Wait a second.
Dial. So like most countries in North Africa, Tunisia has two separate types of flora and fauna. The green rocky mountain types and the dry arid terrain types. The country has 17 national parks for wildlife conservation, the most famous one probably being Lake Ishkul or Ashkelon, a UNESCO heritage site.
Why is he speaking so weirdly, man? This is distracting me.
Famous for being a migratory bird hotspot. Every conceivable species of duck, goose and waterfowl can be found here, including flamingos, oyster catchers, ruffs and smew. You heard me, there's a bird called a smew. And that's how it sounds too, it just kind of smews at you, smew. Disapproving of you.
I like that they have endangered species right there. Other countries can learn from that as well by protecting them.
Just like your great aunt. Smew. And just look at Alphagia
Look,
National
I don't find this funny. I don't know why, but I don't know. So another national park.
Super green, totally underrated, and if you're lucky, you might spot some of the rarest ungulates, the Dama gazelle. Not to be confused with the drummer gazelle, which is my cousin Bert. He got a lot of issues, man. It is said that you can find over 370 species of bird here, including the national bird, the cream-coloured corsair. Otherwise, head south to the Sahara and you'll find the largest national park, Jabil. You've got fennec foxes, jackals, hyenas, cobras.
Wait. Did you see this fox right there?
Jabil. You've got
this fox, man. I swear, this picture, I swear I once used this as a profile picture. Maybe I think I even made a meme with this Fanus fox, man. It's too cute, man. It's unbelievable.
Fennec foxes, jackals, hyenas, cobras and horned vipers and Barbary sheep, which are all endemic. And if you're lucky, you might spot the super rare addax. Finally.
So we have some dangerous animals as well in the desert region, as far as I got now.
Also known in the southern area are horses. The local Berber community has quite an equestrian-based culture that involves ferocia events and shows. And speaking of horses, it's time for you to meet up. Giddy up on out of here. Cheerio, mates.
Thank you, Gary. And to add to the animals, Tunisians love seafood. They definitely like the fish off those coasts.
So that was very much expected to have a lot of fishing going on in Tunisia.
You know what's coming up. We're going to discuss the food of Tunisia. And with that, let's go back.
I'm hungry already, man. I just ate a pizza, but I'm still hungry.
To Sammy and Ahmed.
First off, we love carbs.
Woo!
It is said that
carbs. Carbon. Yeah. Okay, pasta, potatoes, and rice probably.
We are the second largest consumer per capita on pasta, after Italy.
Ah, okay. Pasta, but carbs is not just pasta.
Some will claim Tunisia is probably has the spiciest cuisine in the Arab world, which is true. And this is the proof. It's the best harissa in the world.
In any case.
Oh, okay. If I ever visit Tunisia, I must be careful what food I get, because I like spicy, but not hot food. Like, I mean, it can be a little hot, but when they have this hottest food in the whole Arab world.
And this is the proof. It's the best harissa in the world.
In any case, some of our top dishes might include things like
brick, which is a pastry with egg and tuna.
Pastry with egg and tuna, interesting.
Fricassee, which is savory donut. Mlewio.
Lovely. This kind of bread, I feel like it exists in every country. Like, it just had different names, man.
Of course.
Oh, the best. My favorite, my personal favorite. And there's also Asida's Gogo, which is
I love it.
Ahmed's favorite. And finally, the trifecta of Tunisian cuisine, specifically for weddings and special occasions. The tagine couscous, the
Tunisian tagine couscous and mechwer salad. So the couscous I see right here. Mechwer salad. This might be made from bell peppers. I'm 100% sure. And this looks like it's with egg.
Yeah, Tunisian tagine is basically quiche.
And our version
Quiche, yeah, that's what I thought, right?
This usually contains seafood like sea bream or squid. So that's it for our food. You guys should try it.
Thank you. Also, a little side note, Tunisia has a noticeable wine growing region and they do brew beer. It's actually
Wine and beer. Okay, now we're coming to the point where we started this right off because it said Muslims don't drink alcohol, but we have a wine and beer production in Tunisia, all right.
Tunisia has a noticeable wine growing region and they do brew beer. It's actually an old tradition that dates back to the Carthaginian times. Well, that's all I got for you. Until next time, stay tuned and stay ready.
Thank you, Noah.
No, it didn't say anything about if this is getting exported or if people actually drink it where they are. That would have been interesting, I think.
By the way, Sammy, what's your favorite Tunisian dish?
Fricassé, kafteji, leblebi.
That's pretty interesting. You guys can your harissa?
Yeah, it's the best in the world. Try
I
it.
think it's actually expired. Well, so far you've probably picked up the
It's expired. I mean, it doesn't matter probably. You can keep in these cans, like they can be expired for 10 years. You can still eat it probably, you know.
variables that make up Tunisia as a state and as a landmass.
Only one ingredient left to this recipe, the people.
Tunisians.
Now, I wonder if I should start this chapter or should I go for let it open for the second part, but yeah, let's actually finish this off for today. I already said finish, man. Hey, man, you already tuned off, man. I know how you are, man. Anyways, man, you can check out a music video of myself. I told you I'm a German rapper, so if you're interested to see my music, watch this video right here. It's provided with English subtitles so you can understand the lyrics. And right above you can find my latest reaction on Tunisian rap. That might be interesting for you as well. I wish you the very best. Stay healthy, stay well, and farewell.